Well, actually, one thing I do want to cover really quick. The squadron, the VFA 192, the virtual squadron, not the real ones, we're very focused on trying to deploy the Hornet tactically. So working together to solve problems, working with people on the ground to do different things in different roles, such as a JTAC. And so this was, I think, the fourth iteration of training that we had done. We had learned some stuff, but as you're going to see in this video, we still had some more to learn. So I'm going to skip us ahead here to the check-in and turn the volume on. So give me just 1 second here. All right, here we go. Hunter 2-2, Dragon 1-1.
Dragon 1-1, Hunter 2-2, same current position altitude.
230, 33 miles, 34,000.
That's confirm that's relation to the start point.
To waypoint 1.
Affirm. Alright, be advised, only player in the stack. Go ahead and proceed overhead, block 1520, and report established. Go ahead and send your check-in one able.
So I'm going to pause this here for just a second. I know this is a theme that you guys and I have talked about before, and that is safe route of flight. Is that the right term? Did I just use that right?
Routing and safety of flight, but good enough for government work, Yeah,
for government work. Routing and safety of flight. I know that for a lot of folks, maybe in DCS, they're not used to having to do this. So do you want to talk a little bit about deconfliction and why that's important?
Yeah, so I mean, most people I think are used to starting off every scenario or when they're contacting somebody with their check-in, sending their loadouts and their call sign, letting them know who they are. But really, the important part before you even get to that step is your routing and safety. So letting everybody know in your airspace where you're at and what you're doing, so you can contact the controlling agency of that airspace and get pushed to the proper location. A reason why that's so important is because you have other aircraft in the stack, or maybe there's hot artillery going off and that's flying through the air. We use the term big sky, little bullet a lot of times as a joke, but in reality, in Vietnam, that happened a lot where we had aircraft flying into each other, and we had aircraft flying into hot artillery gun to target lines. So it's really important to make sure you keep the aircraft deconflicted.
What'd you say again? Big sky what?
Big sky, little bullet.
Big sky rifle. Have you ever heard that before?
Yep, absolutely. The first time I learned about routing and safety, when I got yelled at because I didn't care about where the plane was, it was just that. And I'm glad that Blizzard brought up the Vietnam, because a picture that I use is a cargo aircraft coming in, and its wing has been clipped by a 155 artillery shell. And so it's that kind of crazy. Where there's a will, there's a way. Even with plans go to shit, and guys, have fatal, catastrophic failures and accidents. And so routing and safety of flight is the first thing that you do as a JTAC, and also the last thing in the 12 steps CAS procedure.
Absolutely. And what you're talking about with that round hitting is the max ord, right? The max height of ordnance, so that you want to stay above them so you don't get impacted by those.
Yeah, this one was actually coming into forward operating base, so it was like on final, and a round ripped right through the aircraft. So like he was way below max ord, but that's it was just everything that we have today as policy, if you will, for people that may not understand doctrine, comes from hard lessons learned.
So written in blood.
100%.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of great things about DCS, and people like you make, for a pilot like me who wants to learn and push the skills, make it amazing. But we don't have the risk of death. And, I've stated before we started this, I'm open. Everything's on the table. The mistakes I've made here, I only want to learn from. And fortunately, I only have, I guess, a little ego or pride on the line, right? I'm not going to actually die if we screw it up. So,
I think though, like one of the things from DCS perspective is you're right. We're not going to die. However, if your ingress is an hour and a half from startup, and go to the tanker and ingress in some of those large scale mission profiles that people are doing, then yeah, you really want to be able. It's DCS, because of its authenticity, naturally induces real world tactics because you will not respawn right away, right? Like the guys are going to call it a night when he respawns on the flight line, and now you have to ingress another hour, an hour and a half, and you haven't even shown up to your moment of vulnerability or the AO yet. So you don't die, but by putting these things in, you're making sure that the guys are going to have a good evening.
For sure. And JTF or Blizzard and I fly in another group that's larger, and he sees what happens when there's a lot of pilots in the sky, and your squadron and your reputation become important because people are depending on you to complete your mission so they can do theirs.